Good afternoon. It is Thursday, July the 25th, about 2:45 p.m. This is meteorologist Shay Gibson with SailFlow, bringing you a preliminary forecast for the Helly Hansen Sailing World Regatta Series 2024 being held in Marblehead next 3 days. We'll be joining you each morning for the forecast update, and then going for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. So you'll be seeing the latest information here. I'm going to give you a preliminary for the next 3 days, but just know that things can change. Especially as we get into Saturday and Sunday. It looks like we're going to be under high pressure. Real quick, let me go through the deck here. Myself, Carter White, and Bill Lynn will be joining each morning for the call. We'll also have an intro from maybe Jarrett. We'll see who's going to be introing. Might be me, but either way, we'll have a team here every morning to go over the forecast. Housekeeping rules, of course, if you have questions, comments, or feedback, you can put them in the chat window, raise your hand, ask questions. We encourage it. We're definitely looking forward to helping you understand the weather better in their area. For the sensor, we're going to be looking at the Children's Island sensor on SailFlow for this one. It looks like this one reads really well. It sits at about 30 feet above ground level. So it's optimal in height, and it seems to do pretty well for that area. A few nuances, but either way, it does pretty good for this particular area, especially out in the middle of the race course areas. So speaking of which, right here, the race course circles are identified. We'll talk about these a little bit tomorrow, what the wind is going to be doing across these specific locations. And I'll get a little bit into that today, but I think it's important that we take this day to day with everything. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the forecast. Currently, right now, we have a cold front moving through the area, so it's just to our west, and we're seeing some showers and thunderstorms developing along it. Let me bring my draw tool over. We are right about here on the map, so you can kind of see where we. I'm sorry, we're right about here. So those storms are moving in right now. As we speak, you're probably hearing a little bit of thunder or seeing some lightning out there. But behind that, you have some subsidence clouding associated with high pressure that's diving or pulling across the Great Lakes, and some of that northwest flow pulling down across the mountains. It should dry up by the time it gets over the mountains. As you can see, condensation occurring, probably some moisture and some rains occurring up in the mountain areas. But as it spills downslope, these clouds dissipate as they come towards the coast and pretty much fizzle away. Over time, we're going to expect high pressure to sort of move across the area. So right now, looking at the windy app, it shows the isobars pretty well. We're sitting right over the Great Lakes, over Lake Michigan, Green Bay area, high 1,024 millibar high pressure. This is going to be slowly jogging to the east over the next 3 days, and that makes for some pretty light and variable winds on Saturday. We get a nice northwest flow off of this tomorrow morning that starts to fade through the day. And then we start to see winds getting a little bit wonky Saturday, and then maybe a little bit more consistent on Sunday, depending on where it is. But I'm just going to go through day to day here. This is going to be right now, 12 p.m. tomorrow. We see the high expanding across the eastern Great Lakes, right? We're going to start to see it expand towards the Massachusetts area. That means that northwest flow is going to be fading through the day. It may start out moderate or modest in the morning. We'll get into specifics here shortly. I just want to give you the pattern. As we get into Saturday, that high pressure is now starting to expand, and the center of the high pressure is weakening as it goes just to our south. But either way, high pressure is going to be over the area, almost directly overhead, which makes for some forecast challenges for sure. Hopefully, we'll get a nice little east-southeast sea breeze out of this. That's a little bit more consistent in the afternoon. And as we get into Sunday, looking at high pressure pulling offshore, we got a mid-level or upper level low trying to come up from the south. It won't be impacting our area yet, not until probably Monday. But at least that provides a return southeast flow across the area. And that's what the model's really clinging to right now, is that the high pressure pretty much becomes so expanded that we just end up with a nice little modest southeast breeze on Sunday. But either way, as far as rain goes, of course, we got rains now with the storms and everything, and then we see the rains dissipating where that subsidence clouding fades out. And it looks like we're going to have some nice sunny skies pretty much for the next 3 days. So the weather looks pleasant, looks fair. Temperatures are going to be ranging in the low to mid 80s. Out over the water where it's cooler, sea surface temperatures right around 58 degrees. So that means, this temperature may come down to about 75, 77 degrees over the water. So, just know that this temperature is for Boston, right? Boston proper, not out over the water, where it's definitely cooler where the winds come across. If we look at SailFlow map right now, Children's Island are showing 14 knots, gusting 16 from the south-southwest. Children's Island. And what I'll do is I'm just going to run all the available models for this and sort of give you some thinking here. So tomorrow morning, there's a lot of agreement on a west flow early, and that's due to the high pressure starting to head across the Great Lakes and flatten out a little bit. This was a little bit more northwest. Most of the wind was a little bit more northwest at an earlier time in this direction, where it was actually going a little bit more north or northwest of the day. Now we're starting to see some changes occurring where this west flow bleeds out by 10, 8 o'clock, 10 a.m. I think that northwest flow will hold up a little bit longer through this period. As we get towards the race start time in this area right now, between 10 and 12 p.m. and 10 a.m., 12 p.m., this is where things get a little bit dicey, where that high pressure starts to try to fade out. And so that's going to make for some challenges tomorrow morning. I definitely say tune in tomorrow to find out what we're going to be looking at the start of the race, because things will be a little bit clear as far as the high resolution models are concerned and what the thinking is from them. I don't depend on all the model activity, but in a mesoscale discussion like this where that high pressure is pending and it's going to be the dominating feature, I definitely do look to the high resolution models for some guidance. In the afternoon, it looks like things could get a little wonky. We're seeing the high resolution model, the 2 kilometer, trying to grab onto a southeast sea breeze by 2, 3 o'clock. So again, even the HRRR is catching that, and the trim, which is an AI model, is catching that as well in the afternoon. So definitely tune in tomorrow. We'll look at through Saturday, where we see a north wind early, northwest over to north. So we're going pretty much from 280 over to 300 or 0, and then veering in the afternoon over to that east southeast regime. So the time period in between is going to be critical on what the wind speeds are going to be, what the directions are going to be at the right time of the race starts. So I'm not anticipating any postponements for starts at this point because there's no severe weather. There's nothing major. We're just waiting on wind to fill in each day through the race. I think that's going to be the pattern, right? We're going to be waiting for the wind to fill in. And Sunday looks a little bit more, I'd say a little bit more robust, a little bit more agreement on this, where this southeast sea breeze is going to fill in a little sooner. So we'll cross our fingers and hope that each day the winds fill in a little bit sooner, right near the race start times. We'll go from there. As far as I'm going to run the Tempest map, just kind of take a look at sea surface temperatures. I want to verify what we're looking at. Overall, we're looking about 58 to 60 degrees for the area for sea surface temperatures, which again, that matters with the air temperatures because it brings it down about half from where it is right now. So I would be anticipating somewhere in the, maybe even like closer to 70, 69, 70 degrees, looking at the water temperatures being in the upper 50s. So that'll be for, to be wearing light jackets out there, right? Just make sure that you stay warm on the water. But either way, that's going to be the preliminary forecast for this period. I know we're under a waning gibbous moon at about 75.7%. So no tidal fluxing going on from any full moon. The full buck moon was last weekend. So nothing going on there. And that said, let me go ahead and stop share screen. I think, for those watching today, it's really, we're going to be talking about each individual part of the race circle where the winds are going to be filling in. So west-northwest, northwest winds, we know near those islands. There's going to be some wind shadowing effects across there, but it's important to watch every single morning what we're doing as far as the forecast and where the winds are going to be, what the winds are going to be doing, when they're going to be turning and filling in. That's going to be the tricky part, but I think we'll take it day to day. But until then, until tomorrow morning, we'll see you back here for the first forecast starting tomorrow, Friday. Take care, have a good day, and we'll see you then.